everybody, it's Drew with Southern Yankee Innovations, and I bought this tractor about 6 months ago. And the first thing I did when I got it was put the third function valve on it so I could run this Grapple. And I just kind of wanted to go over, some of the pros and cons of the Grapple, and then overall what I think of it, and if it's something maybe you should look at putting on your tractor. This is a CID root Grapple. It doesn't have the deep lower section like a lot of them do, but I'll go more into that here. Alright, so like I said, it's a CID and it's a 63-inch root Grapple, and I went with the shorter lower part. After talking with the dealer, when you get the ones that extend out to here, you're also increasing the weight forward. So if you don't have like fluid filled tires, or you're using it on a smaller tractor like mine's only like 32 horse, you're going to run into issues of putting too much weight forward and never having enough traction on the back and always picking up the back tire. But also, so like I am crewing up a lot and I have some smaller stumps that I want to dig up with a mini. And if you're trying to push up into that pile with that small little lower part of your Grapple, if you snag it with momentum, you can bend your tilt cylinders. He said they replace 3 or 4 a year, usually on those longer ones, because they get all that weight and the leverage out in front, and they'll snag a root and it'll just twist and bend that tilt cylinder. So when I put the third function kit on, I'll attach the link for where I got the third function. It's got the 2 buttons here. That's to extend and collapse your Grapple. And then your valve is here, which is on a quick connect. So if you ever wanted to detach the front end loader, you can do that. And then it all feeds up to the front, where you have the quick connect for the Grapple itself. John Deere has the pin set up, so you just pop these pins here, and then it sets up in here, and you can attach and detach the Grapple or bucket. So like I said, we've been clearing this lot down here on the back side of our place. We're going to put in a guest house. All of our family lives out of town, and the plan is that we're going to put a guest house here for them to stay in while they're here. So we've been cutting down some larger trees, and having the Grapple makes it nice for cleanup. You can just cut it into whatever lengths you need and move it around. So this is mostly the firewood pile. There's some tops and twigs mixed into it, but that little tractor can handle probably more than what it really should. But I mean, some of these are 16 foot and probably 18-inch diameters on some of these on the bottom. So one thing I like about using the root Rake Grapple with fires is that if you start low to the ground, you're not grabbing all the dirt. It'll fall through behind that bar instead of throwing it up on top of your pile. One thing you got to be careful with is that you are running over hot coals, so you got to be careful with your tires and all this, rubber components underneath, just so you don't catch fire. So you'll see here shortly, there's a stump that I'm about to run into, and you can see how having a shorter lower part of your root Rake just provides less leverage, so that way it doesn't rip down and bend that cylinder. And I'll hit it again here shortly too. So my tractor has the power reverser, which is nice because you can go forward and backwards just by flipping the lever back and forth underneath the steering wheel. But one thing that would be pretty handy with having the Grapple is hydrostatic. Just a lot more control going back and forth and stuff. Sometimes there's you kind of got to feather the clutch, which is going to increase wear and tear. I mean, it works fine. You get a little extra power, which is nice, but it's just something to consider. Another thing to consider is the way the grapple works is it's a third function, so you're actually taking flow from the hydraulic system and diverting it to that extra function, the grapple. So if you're trying to use multiple hydraulic functions at one time, say you want to tilt and grab, the tractor will tend to tilt or lift before it'll grab, so you got to sometimes pick up a little bit and then push the button on the grapple, lift up a little bit, push the button on the grapple. You can't do them consecutively. And if you try to do them consecutively, it'll actually sometimes ease the pressure off the grapple and loosen up your grip on what you're getting ready to pick. So say you're going to cut up some firewood. This will kind of show you how much easier it is to do. A lot of times, you're going to have to cut into your firewood lengths and then throw it in your bucket and then haul it one length at a time to your pile. The thing that's nice with this is you can pick up one length, or like you can see here, I'm going to do 2 lengths, and then you can haul it right next to your pile, and you can cut it, put it in your splitter, and you're right there all in one spot. You don't have to deal with, wherever you fell the tree, having to cut it and then haul it back and forth. This can just kind of speed up the process. Pretty wet right now. So when it's like this, it's putting a lot of leverage. You can actually grab some of the smaller soft. You try to pull it to each side. Where that grapple is, take each side of it, put it on the side of the stem itself, and pull out some roots. Just change your angle on it and come in from the other side and do the same thing. Put the root rake on each side and just kind of break the roots around the stump up, and then you just kind of got to take a deep grab at it, and you might have to use the grapple to grab it so it doesn't slip out, and just pull it right out. I used to have a bungee cord that I kept on here, keep it up and out of the way. I got ripped off and I forgot to put another one on, but that would be one thing that I would recommend having. You got all this extra cable, that way you got room for tilting and all that, but it gets in the way, and like doing this, it gets hot. Fortunately, it's not too bad, but you just have a way to keep it up and out of the way to keep it from snagging on a root or brush. I also would recommend having a brush guard. As you can see, this one's been used pretty good. It jostles around a lot and it throws a lot of sticks and stuff up into it. I can't keep my hood down to save its life. It always wants to pop out. You slam it down, and then after all the flex from picking up the logs and on the uneven ground, it'll just keep popping loose. So far, having 6 months or so on it with using it quite regularly, I love it for firewood. I just keep everything all in a pile. I'll go and I'll grab a couple sticks, spread them out, and then I'll go cut them into lengths with this chainsaw. And then on top of that, just odds and ends. The only con that I've had, well, 2 I guess, and the first one is my fault, is I bent that tooth out a little bit, trying to pull on a log sideways, and I know better, but I tried it anyway. And then when I went to squeeze it down, the stick got leveraged in here and caused it to bend out. And then the only other one I have is when I was pushing up brush into this pile down here, a stick came up and took out that bottom freeze plug that's forward facing on the
front of these, or on the back of these tractors. I don't know why they don't have any type of guard or anything over that, but that was kind of a pain and a disappointment. That was like the first or second time I used the Grapple.
So, if this is something that you're looking at getting into, you need to know it's going to be pretty pricey up front. So just the third function kit costs about $600. I order mine from Summit Hydraulics, but then you also have to get the rubber hoses that are the length you need, and you got to get it installed if you can't do it yourself. So with this tractor, you actually have to take off the rear tire to get it connected to the block that's already on this tractor, but some tractors don't already have that block, so there could be another added expense. So I think I paid about $900 to have the hoses made and have them install it into the block on the back of this, and then I mounted everything and did the electrical for it. And then that is on top of the Grapple, which I think the Grapple was another $2,200 or $2,300, and that was I think marked down actually. So you're going to look at $3,500 to put a Grapple on the front of the tractor if you buy everything new. To me, I would say it's more than paid for itself in the year that or 6 months that I've had it. I don't know, wear and tear on the tractor, probably not so much, but as far as the use and how much it speeds jobs up, 100% worth every investment for me.